Good morning, everyone. Sorry about that. I was just getting a news alert. It is Trending Thursday. Good morning. This is Carroll-Sue, aka Naughty Boss, live with
TwoSistas. And good morning, everyone. My name is Janis, aka Wellness Diva, and it is Thursday, January 7th. Like Carroll-Sue said, Trending Thursday. Always so much trending. And I'm sure that a lot of people did not sleep too well yesterday, last night with everything going on in our world today. So let's talk about trending topics. But first, we would like to say we all feel the weight of what is going on, as I had kind of opened with yesterday. Let kindness be in your heart when you're expressing yourself, because there is so much going on, right? So I just want to start off by saying that we honor you, we honor your feelings, even if they're opposing viewpoints, but let's all be kind and gentle with one another.
No, I think that's a good way to look at it. People are going to struggle with the obvious things that I'm personally struggling with, the whole unity. A lot of people are talking about they will never vote again because of the obvious corruption. And I'm not going to get into all the ins and outs of that. What I will say, many people were really hoping that President Trump would invoke the Insurrection Act. I mean, that was kind of his last, I would say, effort, in really making sure that our White House did not have corrupt people in it. Now, it takes a very, very momentous mindset to know that you're going to be handing over the keys to our country to someone that is not the people's choice, was not voted in, and who, you're basically shaking hands with the man who stole, and his party stole the election from you. That's probably has to be one of the hardest pills for most people to swallow, that how could a man of his stature, his ambition, his love of country, his wanting to really expose both sides of the aisle and the corruption and the layers and peeling back the onion and opening up our mindsets, yet he can know that ultimately he has to do what's best for the country. And what's best for the country, he feels, is to make it a smooth transition, because that's the transfer of power. I'm struggling with that. Not struggling with his decision to do that, because I do ultimately think that's the right thing to do. We have to show by example democracy and not be the part of what he was trying to peel back. But on the flip side of that, and that's what, I'm thinking, after all, the hard work that his family put in, all that he endured for 4 years from the radical left, from the 12 powers that are running our world, and where will we go? Most people are thinking, why vote? And I'm also thinking that way, because if we can't fix the election fraud, why go and vote to really know that your vote doesn't matter? It's casted, but they have a way to almost cancel it out. And that's something that a lot of us are going to have to wrestle through, and it's not going to happen overnight. And I never say never, never on anything. I mean, I was pretty upset this morning and said I will never vote again. And that's how, and I'm not going to not say that, because that's how I'm feeling. This is a loss for our country. This is a loss for every true American. Many people proclaim to be an American, yet they voted for a system that had flagrant fraud going on, and they're okay with that. They're okay enough to turn their heads. Well, we'll get through this. So it's a few votes, or no, it didn't happen. And I'm going to actually get off of that topic, because we have so many viewpoints of that. But what I really found out in the last 4 years was just how blind people truly are. Blind within my circle, blind with friends, blind with family members. And I look at it this way. And when I say blind, they can see. They don't suffer from blindness, but they do suffer from not seeing the vision of what's really going out there, common sense things. And I'm going to talk specifically about yesterday, what transpired. There are many videos that actually show the Patriots at the front line of getting closer to the Congress building. And I want people to think about this. There are three major buildings in our country, the White House, our Congress, and the Pentagon. These are the most guarded buildings. And I want people to actually think about that. When you see all the pictures that are floating around on social media, do you actually think that a handful, because it wasn't thousands like people are portraying, a handful, and there was quite a few of them, but still what I consider a handful in the vast numbers that were there, in skinny jeans with helmets and backpacks, somewhere in a few costumes, because they're wearing something that they truly don't believe in, but it was a camouflage, a costume to fool people. Do they actually believe that these people infiltrated one of the second most guarded buildings in our country, not only stormed it, but walked around in the hallways, had time to go into the chambers, hang out, take selfies, and still escape? Do they actually believe that? And I'm not going to answer that for you. I'm not going to say the obvious, but do people actually think that this event was not staged to pause what was going on, to cause havoc, thinking it was Trump supporters? And I'm not saying that there were not some Trump supporters. So think of it this way. We already know from Black Lives Matter movement protest and from Antifa filtrating them. Antifa, for those that don't know, have a common denominator. They usually have a backpack. They're usually dressed in black. They usually carry gas masks. Like, I don't see any Trump supporters actually packing gas masks to go do a peaceful protest. So think about that, number one. And number two, they've already shown that they go to these rallies, even the protests, and hand out money and get people riled up. So when you're in a big gathering, so all right, we're going to flip it around. Let's say you're at a concert, you're excited, the music is going, you're in the groove. Well, that's the kind of feeling that goes on a protest as well. But you also will have some anarchists that will come in there and rile some of the masses up in such a way that they don't even have time to think. They should, and you should be knowingly, when you go to a protest, know that this happens. So did, in fact, some Trump supporters also enter the building, which they shouldn't have? Absolutely. Did we have a veteran who was an avid Trump supporter die? Yes, she did. And there's a lot of misinformation. This woman was not standing. She was actually going through a window. She's entering a federal building. And because of her background, she knew what she was doing. That was her focus. And sadly, she died. And that is a part of, the sadness of when you go to these events. She was very well aware of what she was going to do. It does not deter the sadness of her dying or her family's heartache and losing a good patriot. But when you turn that focus into that the rest were, in fact, Trump supporters, when there's so much proof out there. I even have a video, but because Flakebook has been giving me written warnings, I have it, so I've asked people that they can direct message me, and I will send it to them via text or whatever. But I would oppose this on what's trending. I think today is trending Thursday. We have to pause. And if that's President Trump's will to have a peaceful transition, that really emphasizes the extraordinary person we had in office for 4 years. And for those that belittled him, belittled his family, attacked his family, the ones who actually did vagrant, foul corruption towards his family and his children and his grandchildren and the harassment and the people now that are calling for unity. That's going to be a struggle for America, and America has to understand that. And those that are calling for unity that disgraced our country for the last 4 years, people are not going to, they're not going to be receptive to that, rightfully so, but they're also not going to think you're credible, because at one hand, you can't call for unity when you've been part of a division for 4 years. And will we ever get past that? I'm not sure. I know for me personally, it's gonna take some time. I'm freely out there to admit, but I will not admit that this was a legal election, and I will not declare the next person the president of the United States, because in my heart, I already know that it's not even my heart. The facts show that it was illegitimate. So he's not a legitimate person in my eyes. I am not going to go out protesting him. I am not going to bash him like what was done to us for 4 years, but I'm not going to recognize him. I'm not going to declare him. And actually, I feel like I'm basically denouncing him. And that's my choice.
Right. And we all have a lot of opinions and viewpoints on this. And I will say that when I found out yesterday what was going on, and like I said, I think yesterday, and I probably have said it many times, that I kind of limit my exposure because, I'm working and, it's a distraction, of course. But when I first heard about the Capitol being breached, I'm like, how is that even remotely possible? And of course, there was a lot of chit chat going on at Facebook, and somebody had, one of my Facebook friends had posted something. And of course, there were a lot of remarks on that. And I chimed in. And what I think is very interesting is if you have an opinion, you are made to feel ashamed and you are backlashed and you are called delusional. Well, I was called delusional. And I'm like, well, how is this even possible? So you have to wonder, I still wonder where everybody is getting their news sources. Ask yourself a couple questions. We don't know it all. I certainly don't know it all. My word is not the law. My feelings are not how perhaps you should feel. But I'm just asking, how is that even possible? I have my own theory on it. They wanted that to happen. That was planned. That was staged. There, I've said that.
I mean, I don't understand it. And I'm saying, don't, put the, and I think that's hard for a lot of people to put the politics aside and just see what was going on. And like I said, the video clip that I had is right up front, and you physically see it. I mean, the person's filming it, where you see Antifa smashing the windows, and you see the crowd yelling, stop it, and yelling, help, help, this is Antifa. Like, they're crying out for help, but they're also, as a crowd, trying to deter those individuals that were smashing the windows. And I'm sorry, I've never seen a supporter of the president arrive with gas masks, dressed in black, maybe has a Trump little hat or whatever, clipped on, not wearing it. Plus, there's a lot of evidence that is online, easily accessible to see where they had posters up and where they were recruiting people. So my question would be, besides seeing the obvious, who do you think's paying for them? Because they're paid. These are paid activists that come in to disrupt, to cause havoc, to cause chaos. They didn't just show up there. They came in busloads. So I would like to see who's paying for them, because they're everywhere. I mean, they get on a bus, They got pockets full of cash in their backpacks. That's been documented. Sometimes they have bricks. A lot of times they have like a crowbar. And the other thing that is an interesting piece to consider is you noticed none of them had I've got to be careful of my words. Nobody had any paraphernalia on them that would invoke violence. None of them. Not one person that entered the Capitol building, Congress, had things on them that would be misconstrued as something. Nobody. So they stormed in with nothing of that nature, walked around. You see them. You see the videos. They're walking around. You see the pictures. They're in the hallway. No one's even around them. And in addition, they actually have time to sit at the head seat, taking selfies. There's a guy way above in the what do you call it? The bleacher, not bleachers, but the seats above on his seat. Yeah, right, the vestibule, right. And they're looking down, and they're all like just hanging out. I'm surprised they didn't have time to order a cheeseburger. And if you honestly, truly break all the pieces down of the events yesterday and the timeline of when the vice president released his statement, to the rally getting over, to them walking over to where Congress was having their hearing, to everything, it's staged. And there's nothing, you can't tell me it's coincidence. You can't tell me it's not. It's too obvious. And I think that's what I've learned over the last 4 years, how blind people don't see it. And I think at some point you have to decide for yourself, because it does involve your health, it does involve your wellness. Do you want to align yourself with people, like-minded people, still having differences? Because obviously if we're all exactly the same, we'd be boring. We know that. But you still want to align yourself that people have similar beliefs, that can have a disagreement, but it's done respectfully, that you truly believe that you cannot, there's like a line you can't cross, that you just know you can't cross it. So for me, actually that question was asked several times yesterday. What would be the line? And the line for me was two reasons, because people still ask me this question, even now that the election is over. Name two, we posed this question on the air. Name two things that excite you about your person that you're voting for. Nobody in the Democratic arena that we had contact with could. And then the question was flipped around, what were two things for me personally why I didn't? Mine had nothing to do with politics. It had to do with his character and his well-being. First off, I do believe, and I'll say this again, been very vocal about that, he has very disturbing behavior with women and children, especially children. Very disturbing. Like, there's no denying how disturbing it is. And then his mental faculties. He's suffering from some sort of ailment that impacts his brain, and to have that person behind the nuke button is a little scary to me, especially when he has very close ties to China. So that would be the reasons why I did it. Now, the reasons why I will not accept him is because the election, the proof shows that the election had not only irregularities, but was fraudulent. And the evidence is overpowering, even though people choose not to see it. The evidence that I know of are obviously the videos, cranking out ballots from underneath, taking a stack of ballots, fanning them, putting them in the machine, taking that same back out, fanning them, putting them in. Those are obvious fraudulent behavior. In addition, that the states, in addition, some of the states are notoriously corrupt and have been for decades. So if in fact, this much I will say, and then I'm going to let you chat about it. If Mr. Biden won fairly, totally different game ball, totally different game. If he was elected in a fair election that held integrity and that was legitimate, I would have no problem. I had no problem with Obama. Peaceful transition that, he won. And I would have that same courtesy and respect for Mr. Biden if he actually won in a fair election. He did not. And that's why he will never, I will always denounce him. That's just how it is, because he did not, it was not a fair and free election.
Wow, so much I can say. Politics is really one of the most strange and complicated matters that our country has always endured. I years ago was involved in politics, and it's a tough thing to go through, even with your own party, even with your constituents. How do I say this? I'm so good with words, but yet sometimes I get writer's block, and now I'm getting talker's block. But I will say this. Not my president coming up.
No.
And I'm just going to leave it at that. I would feel totally different. And I kind of agree with your sentiments as far as if it was won legally. And there's a lot of debate about that. But the facts are the facts. I can't change them. You can't change them. Democrats can't change them, although they're changing. I'm just going to say they change whatever they want. And I don't mean Democrats in general. I mean the people that are in power.
The people that are paid by the Americans.
Right. We pay them.
Yeah.
Like, it's, for me, it's just mind-boggling. But let's move ahead. I think we've dedicated enough time to not my president. So in the world of trending Thursday, oh my gosh, so many amazing things always happening. How's everybody doing with their wellness? I mean, you know, in the Northeast here, it's been very cold. It's been very raw outside. I am dying to get out and walk around. Unfortunately, I still can't, but what's everybody doing for their health and wellness?
Well, you know, in all honesty, I think for a lot of people, it halted this week because of what's going on in our country. And that's the balance that you have with health and wellness is what's pulling you from the outside. And that's why mindset is so key. For someone that is, you know, a mindset coach, and we talk about different ways to pivot when you're going through that. I know how I try to, you know, look. I always look at the coin on either side, and I preach that. And I thought to myself, if I'm struggling with that, you know, what are the people that, you know, that don't put mindset first and foremost in their daily, part of their daily healthy? So what I would say is some of us did derail this week because of outside forces. And these were not just, you know, oh, I'm having a bad day. These were insurmountable sidebars and things that pull us. But today is a new day. The president has made his decision, and we have to somehow decide, okay, maybe I need a break either from social media or stop watching the news, because at the end of the day, we always talk about it's not in our control. But what is in our control is how we respond to it. So for me, I am going to be probably playing pickleball a couple times today, and that is a great way to get that energy out. I'm meeting some friends at 9:30, and then it's also today is the round robin. So I predict that I'm going to be there for quite a few hours, and I need that physical movement to get some of this mindset energy out. It is a great stress reliever. It helps get, you know, your endorphins going. I've been grateful and thankful that I've been taking these nice fruit snacks that help with our endocannabinoid system, which is playing havoc right now because of, you know, what we're going through. So I would suggest to, you know, not argue with people. That's one of the things that I felt good about yesterday. I didn't really argue with anybody. You know, I would make statements or whatever, but I didn't fall into that trap. I'm very, very postured in my beliefs, and I always try to research what I'm posting. So if you're getting too hung up with social media, back off of it. Today would be a great day to back off of it. There are so many things, if you're, especially in the Northeast and you can't get outside, utilize what's in your home to get some sit-ups and to get some push-ups, and definitely the stretching bands is a good thing. If you find that you've derailed not only in your movement, but you've also derailed in what you're eating, this is detox week. How can you detox? Maybe you fell off the wagon one of the days and you're doing the 5-day detox and you're like, I didn't do so good today. That is okay. Today is a new day. And that's the beautiful thing about having a good mindset is, each day you can leave it better than the day before. So if yesterday was a struggle day, and it was for so many people, maybe you slacked off on your health and wellness mindset. You ate things that you shouldn't have. Well, guess what? Today's a new day.
Yes, and today is a new day because I'm hoping that will be removed.
Woo! Is he going to move it? Was he going to unscrew it?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, we talked about that the other day. Yeah, he brought it up, and I'm like, yes. I'm like, yeah, you got to get it out there because I can't get the green screen yet because I have to, the way,
Right.
I don't know if people, I don't think you would notice, obviously but
Yeah.
where I am sitting, the roof is pitched on an angle.
Right.
So we're trying to come up with something that I can put up there and
Yeah, they have them in different sizes too. And I think you could also get them where it's double sticky tape so you can adjust them.
yes,
Instead of being on an actual pole. So that might be an option as well.
exactly.
I sometimes think of, what am I going to do? And I love these two pictures, but I'm not always in the inside office anyway. So, and today's, they've got so many cool backgrounds with Zoom. So that's kind of neat too.
Yeah, it is.
That's a good thing. That's awesome. Is that happening today or is that in the works?
Well, it's definitely in the works, and just I have to kind of reboot my desk area again. That's always a constant thing in motion because I have different projects going on. We have the Quarantine Awakening, which is coming out next month, and the Knockout Shelly project. Woohoo! March 17th, which I believe is the Ides of March.
Yes. Ides of March. It's also St. Patty's Day.
Yes,
I love my green beer or my green cocktail. Anything green, because I walk around with green dye that day. I know it's a little weird, but I just do it.
Hey, that's okay. What else is happening today?
That's about it. I'm gonna get some movement in and then come back and focus in on some of the things that we're working on. I'm also going to devote an hour for journaling, which I have not journaled in a week and a half. So I've got to get back to that and work on some chapters of the awakening and just all this good stuff that we've got going on. So there's so much to do. And I think when people put things in perspective and understand and go about your day knowing that you can only control how you're going to react to something, that should be a relief. The other key piece is, and I hate the phrase, all things will pass or this too shall pass. It will. It's going to take some time. And I'll be the first to admit that it's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of time for me. I'm an avid supporter of President Trump. I'm an avid supporter of conservative rights in America. But it has awakened a newness in me to get more involved some way. And I don't really know, where that lies, and who knows?
Oh, so when we go forward, we always talk about different things, obviously different tips to kind of put you in that mindset. And what I will say about that is music is a great way to divert. If you have to set the timer on your cell phone, microwave oven, whatever it may be, and just sit there in a nice, comfortable position, close your eyes, and for about 5 minutes, listen to that music, get into that, have your body get into that restful and peaceful arena and focus on your breathing. It really does your body so good. So I wanted to pass that along because I do that. Excuse me, I do that a lot. And it really helps for me to make shift happen. So how are you making shift happen? Thank you, as always, for being with us. And for our live viewers, we want to thank you so much. I see a couple people on, but I'm getting a big glare back here, so I can't really see who is on, but thank you so much. It is our pleasure to share what we are passionate about, and we always promote different viewpoints and different subject areas. When we started this, we never, I don't want to say never, but we never thought that we would really dive into the whole spectrum. And it really has been an honor and pleasure to talk with every one of you, everybody who has approached us with different comments or questions, opposing viewpoints. We always appreciate them. And most importantly, we respect them. Even if we may personally not agree, we respect that. So on that note, my name is Janis, AKA The Wellness Diva, reporting to you live from North Haven, Connecticut. And I'm going to turn it over with
TwoSistas. So this is Carroll-Sue, AKA Naughty Boss, live from Vero Beach, about to get my pickleball on because I've got a vision of who that bull's face is. Just had to throw that out there. But anyway, you guys have a blessed, blessed Thursday. Bottom line is, think of your health and wellness first. You're in control of your actions. Pay it forward and be kind. We will see you tomorrow for a fantabulous Friday. You guys have a great day.
everyone. Have a great day. Oh, and by the way, we are now on YouTube. Just saying, subscribe. Have a great day.